All right, welcome to another edition of CJs Podcast. Absolutely over the moon to have Paddy Barnes on the show this evening. Paddy needs no introduction, but Olympian flag carrier, medalist in both the Olympics, European Games. How are you keeping, Paddy?
Not too bad. Just trying to get on with life, working from home.
Right, how's that
It's
going
not,
for you?
it's not the best, to be honest with
No,
you. Kids just my wife, she's at work. She
right,
has to go to work, and I'm here with the kids. It's tough, but has to be done.
has to be done. That's right. I suppose we'll start then. Where did it all start for yourself? Where did obviously come from North Belfast? How did you get
Yeah.
involved in boxing? What was the sort of early career like?
Um, um, I can actually remember I must be about 11, playing football on the street. So I'm from the Glenville area.
Yeah,
I lived in a street called Roseville Street, and playing football was raining. And one of my mates used to box with a big brother. Um, they were going to the club. Fuck them what? I'd go to the club with you, sure, 'cause it's licensed. So I went down. It was a Wednesday night training. That's class. And the coach said that night, "Do you want to fight on Sunday?" Me, oh, happy days, no problem. And ended up fighting, and I got bit. I fought with out from West Belfast in Finnegan. He's
right.
a coach now in our Plunkett. But as well as that, I used to go down. My cousins were living in our glass, County Down.
Yeah, yeah.
I would go down every weekend, and they had a club down there. So uncle ran the club, and my cousins boxed for him. So every week I'm down there, I box for their club. But a few clubs in Belfast would let me train in their clubs, and I mean, I was box for my cousins. I just went every weekend. I didn't even care about boxing. I just wanted to fit in with my mates, fit in with my cousins. That's the only way I done it for. And people think you lost your first 12 fights, that put you off. Not really. They're close fights. And again, I only really boxed because to fit in. So it wasn't really like, oh Jesus, I'm losing all these fights. No, I might give up. But never want to give up. Only just to fit in basically I done it for.
Right. And did you enjoy it even at that stage, or was it just all about fitting in for you, or was there sort of enjoyment as well in it?
To be honest, I really am. I didn't enjoy it because I remember I enjoyed the training in Belfast, but
Right.
when I'm doing our glass because he come Fra London, I used to spar him and he didn't go hard on me, same age, but every spar it used to be tearing my eyes.
Right.
Like he used to get the better of me all the time. He's bigger and stronger than me, but I hated sparring him. Always tough spar. And I remember every weekend, it's planning for hell this weekend. So I'd be a push to say that I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose then you started to then get obviously better and become decent and start to win fights again. What sort of stage was that at, or what age did you start to
Um,
win fights at?
I started with fights maybe when I was about 14, and like get to the Ireland Championships, you need to be like an Auckland champion,
Yeah,
and that never happened to me until I was 15 because I always would have fought Carl Frampton, and Auckland he would have beat me. But one year he moved up, and I got to walk him down anyway and fought on the Irons. Week after, went to a tournament in I think it was Aberdeen called the Four Nations. So it was Ireland,
yeah,
England, Scotland, Wales, and when I won the MR, won twice in a row. I thought I was the best in the world, and then ever since that victory, I always thought, you know what, I think I could do something good in boxing here. So
yeah,
when I was 16, I believed that I was going to be the best.
yeah. So that actually brings me on to my next question. Sort of, my next question was there a moment growing up or a fight where you went, Jesus, I'm actually decent here. I could do
Yeah,
something special.
again, this that small tournament which doesn't exist anymore. Like the Four Nations Championships. When I won the MR, I thought I was the best ever. Like I thought was Olympic champion
Right.
class, and then that win got me kind of on the Irish high performance for the junior level.
Yeah.
And then as a junior, only fought like two tournaments for Ireland, and I won both of them.
Yeah.
So my confidence going to senior was was pretty high.
Pretty high. And growing up then around 11, 12, obviously in the Clintonville area, was there other sports involved? Did you play a bit of Gaelic? Did you play soccer, or just in the streets?
I played soccer when I was maybe 14. Um, I played for some Pats.
Yeah.
Albeit only get one game. But I'll tell you what, one game and one goal. So
sure. You can't beat that record.
I got 50p back.
Right.
So I retired after that because I couldn't play two contact sports at the same time.
Yeah, and I suppose moving into that sort of high performance level with Ireland, what was that like? Was it a lot of dedication going down to Dublin, staying for weekends, or what was that like?
Like the high performance, even like from junior. Well, I'll speak about senior level. Like it's people have a job, so a 9 to 5 job. The high performance for us, was a 9 to 5 job, and because me going to high performance, I was already on funding, so I was being paid to be there. And at the elite level, unless you're doing that sport full time, you haven't really got a chance against, because the rest of the world, there's so much funding pumped into sports around the world, and if you're not able to compete, if you're not able to train properly, have proper nutrition in place, you're only taking part. You're not going to win.
Yeah. Suppose then moving on to Olympics, I know you're at quite a number of them. What was the highs and the lows for you at the Olympics?
It's all mostly highs, to be honest with you. I actually remember, qualifying from the first Olympic Games. I hadn't a clue what the Olympics were. I didn't really know how big of a tournament they were. But see, I went to Beijing, and the opening ceremony was unbelievable. We went to China, and all the Chinese volunteers, they treat you like you're a superstar. And, everyone back home from Ireland was watching me on TV. You're on such a massive platform. And then London was the same. And then Rio, for me, was bittersweet. I think I can get a medal.
Yeah.
I was feared to win gold, but I think what's more than made up for it was not just because of my third Olympics, but because I got to carry the flag for Ireland.
Yeah.
And for me, that was just as good as winning the medal.
Yeah. Would you say then Rio was probably the Olympics that you enjoyed the most, or which one did you enjoy the most?
Rio was the Olympics that I hated the most.
Hated the most, right?
Not just because they lost. I think the experience was bad. But the Olympic Village wasn't even finished yet. The rooms were stinking. The food everything was just dirty and stinking.
Yeah.
Like London and China probably specifically, was outstanding.
Right. Very good. And I suppose then, obviously you've made a big deal of Usain Bolt and stuff. Was there any funny stories coming out of the Olympic Village, or how did you mix with other athletes, or how did you go about that?
It's crazy. I remember. Well, I'll give you a story of Beijing. I remember just sitting eating breakfast. I waited in that morning for one of the fights. I think it was fighting in the quarterfinals for a medal against Poland. Sitting eating breakfast, and like the hall is massive, and then somebody fell to sit in front of me eating breakfast. And I know his face. I put him, meet Zola. So John fight with Zola.
Right.
I think he was managing the Italian football team or whatever.
Right.
So I had breakfast with him. But in London, it was probably better cracked. I had myself and Beck Conlon, we stole bikes from next door neighbours. I can't remember, they were Iran or something. I don't know. Just taking around the village, just slamming everyone was saying we passed it over.
Yeah. Oh well, sure, you have to be sometimes. I suppose then you've already sort of mentioned it, like a kid from North Belfast, where you grew up, like unbelievable carrying the flag for Ireland. How did that come about, or where did you first hear it, and like something special?
I remember, right, so Katie Taylor carried the flag in London, and I was adamant that I wanted to carry it because I was the only current medalist going to those games. So I thought, I should be able to they lift the flag. But Kate Taylor got it, and she's a friend of mine. She's in boxing, so no animosity towards her. Obviously, good mates. I mean, Rio have 2 months here. I better carry a flag, even though a boxer carried last time.
Yeah.
I remember doing a photo shoot for Atlantic Ireland and Pat Hickey. And for me, he said, Paddy, I got some good news for you. He was a Pat. It was how would you like to carry the flag for Ireland? I mean, Pat, what are you talking about? I'm carrying the flag no matter what. Don't be telling me good news stories like this, that, and the other. He was the president of the Olympic Council.
Yeah.
He was laughing, and I was just over the moon. Like, I wasn't shocked, but I kind of was shocked because I was a feisty selected, so it was, and I just yourself being from Belfast, North Belfast, or anywhere in Belfast, sorry, being selected to carry a flag for your country at the biggest sporting event in the world. I was so proud.
Were you nervous like the day before? Geez, I might mess this up or something.
No, not at all.
No.
Like, you know what? I thought this is a brilliant crack. But I didn't know. I think the whole committee, I think the whole Olympic Council of Ireland were probably nervous because obviously what I've done in London. Are like, what are you gonna do now?
Yeah.
Because I tell you something beforehand. Paddy Power sponsored me, and they were trying to get me to wear armbands or something to do with Paddy Power for the opening ceremony. Now, if I had done it, I would have got heavily fined, but they were willing to pay the fine.
Right.
But I just didn't do it because the risk was too much. I thought, I could disqualify for the games.
Yeah.
And I was, as I say, it was a favourite to win gold. But looking back, I probably should have
it. What was that sort of 5 or 10 minute spell like, just coming into the stadium, leading your country? Obviously hundreds of athletes from Ireland. What was the buzz like? What was the emotions going through your head?
It was unbelievable. You know what? And see, at that stage, the next day was the weigh-ins for the games, and I was severely dehydrated. I was like whopped out of my head, but it gave me a lift. Out there and seeing all the tens of thousands of fans cheering for Ireland, it's something to make your hair. It's not back your neck. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I suppose, did you feel a wee bit more pressure going into that games because you were carrying the flag, or did it just not bother you at all? No, I wouldn't say.
Not at all. No, just like people do feel pressure in the fights, but you know what? See, once you're actually in that zone, like you're nervous anyway, and pressure doesn't make you into your mind, because once the bell goes, your game plans are, and you just try and execute, and that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I suppose. Look, you were probably great, great career, and very good teammates in that sort of high performance. Was there like a feeling within the boxing sort of team that there was pressure on you in terms of, look, as people say in Ireland, we're good at fighting and we're good at shooting. Probably there was other sports there, probably put in the back burner. We were expecting our medals nearly from the boxing because you were that good. Was there pressure like on the team, or did you feel that as individuals or as a team collectively?
Like, from the outside looking in, you could say though that there was great pressure on the Irish team because it was our most successful team, like in that games. But like in the camp, there was no feeling of pressure, no, because we were in Brazil at the time, so we were cocooned. We didn't know any outside news stories not there. Protect that putting out there, but we didn't care. We're still on the crack and what not. And even though you're competing as a team, it's an individual sport. But things like and most things were out of our control of what happened in those games, and for more enough reasons, we didn't get a few decisions. And it's just really unfortunate. And a few other sports, which was brilliant, like the sailing and rowing. They picked up the medals, which was great to see.
Yeah, I suppose then, just before we sort of leave the Olympics, on your days off, would you go to any other sports and watch them, or would you just focus on the boxing during the Olympics because that's where your focus was, or would you try and get out and support the other Ireland athletes?
Yeah, well, when I'm competing, I would never go and watch another sport, but I didn't watch any sports in Beijing, but in London, I went the Super Saturday where Jessica Ennis and Usain Bolt won the gold. Was there that day, on Mo Farah. And then, but in Rio, I remember the next day I lost. The next day, Paul, geez, I can't name Paul golfer, the Paddy Hard, no one playing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think Paddy was playing.
Paul McGinley, was it?
Paul McGinley. Jeez,
Yes.
I don't remember him. He got tickets for me to go down and watch the women's golf, because there was a few guards from Ireland playing as well. So golf was burning the thought, and I think that was the only actually sport that I went to watch.
Yeah. Do you play any golf yourself? No.
I do terribly.
like myself. I suppose then after Rio, you went and turned pro for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
How did you find that? Was there a massive difference between the amateur game and the professional game?
Yeah, there is a big difference. Like, I remember, like, I'd never ever in my life had any desire or ambitions to be a pro boxer. You know, my dream was always Olympics.
Yeah.
Like, professional boxing, is a totally different sport. It's not really a sport; it's a business. So I was talking to NGM at the time. Before Rio, they were interested in me going professional, and whatever happened, like, I remember going to Olympics anyway, and I got home. I was home for about 2 weeks, and I texted the boys from MGM and said, "Listen, when I'm in the debut, that's do it. Probably will do it November 5th, Belfast. If you fancy it, I mean, let's do it." So I had a meeting with them and said, "Listen, like, I'm 30. I think we're 30 at the time. I've been all over the world. I have enough experience. I've fought in the World Series of boxing. So that's kind of my apprenticeship done. I don't want to be fighting journeyman.
Yeah.
I want to go in and be fast tracked, because you know yourself in Belfast, you've Carl Frack, you've Ram Burnett, Brian McGee. There's loads of world champions, right?
Yeah.
So creating history as an amateur, like, I wanted to do as a professional. So I wanted to stand out from everyone else. I just didn't want to be a world champion. I want to be like the fastest world champion. So I said to the team, "Listen, fast track me the world title. I don't care if I lose. I just want to try and create history. And if it doesn't happen, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? It just and in fairness, they stuck to the word. That's what they done. The fast track me, and it just didn't work out. But I have no regrets whatsoever. If it happened again, but I would try to do it sooner.
Yeah. No. As my next question was, did you regret maybe not turning pro quicker? You know, instead of going to the Olympics, but obviously, clearly.
Yeah, definitely not. You know, like some people get mixed up about amateur and pro boxing. So some people think that pro boxing is like the next level.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a different entity altogether. Like, it's not. Pro boxing is not a progression from amateur boxing. Pro boxing is a different sport altogether. But you know, the Olympic Games for me was just the pinnacle of sport.
Would you say you nearly train more as an amateur boxer leading up to the Olympics than you nearly would as a pro?
100%. You know, again, elite athletes are funded, so like, it's their job.
Yeah.
Like, all the elite athletes in Ireland now, elite boxers in Ireland now, would train more possibly than every boxer, Ireland and UK, pros professionally, because like all the pros in Ireland and UK have jobs.
Yeah.
So they're at bricklaying or out whatever they're doing, and then training at night and probably doing it in the morning.
Yeah.
Elite amateurs are training 5-6 days a week and they're full-time jobs. So you're training far more as an amateur.
Yeah. I suppose then brings me to the next question is Belfast. Obviously, we're both from Belfast and different areas of it from it, but looking in from the outside, coming from a sort of GA background, play a bit of soccer, but why is, you know, Belfast brilliant at boxing? You know, you've already named a couple of them. Throw in yourself, throw in Michael Conlon. Over the years, we've had some great boxers come out of Belfast. Is there any sort of reason for that, or is it luck, or is it just, what is it about?
No, it's just Belfast, and you yourself. It's one of those fighting cities. So much diversity in the city as well, but it's you know what? It's a funny thing. Belfast is a amazing boxing city, but you look at the kind of weights that we're good at. It's all the lighter weights. Wayne McCullough, Wayne McCullough, Mick Conlon, Carl Frampton, myself, Fran Burnett, we're all that kind of
Yeah.
Damien Kelly flyweight there as well.
Kelly as well, yeah.
Like obviously have a few like welterweights and words, but most of them are like Davey Armour, Johnny Caldwell, Freddie Gilroy. They're all lightweights, but I don't know. It's just a fighting thing, you know. I can't like I've been asked that question loads. To be honest, like.
Yeah, it's just unique, like.
But I must say too, it's like Belfast people generally love and know their boxing. So in a coaching sense, like we've got some great coaches too.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you look up to any of them boys then when you started to become good, 15, 16? Was there anyone like Damien Kelly and all that where you were sort of looking up to, or sort of watched a lot?
That I'd be lying if I said I did, but yeah. I remember like early memories. My dad would probably to watch like Brian McGee and Damien Kelly. Yeah. Like those two would have stood out, and I would have went and watched them.
Yeah, I suppose then coming from North Belfast, like all areas in the world, mental health has a big part to play, in today's society. And
yeah.
Obviously, I'd say North Belfast being affected recently as well as other parts of Belfast. But did you ever find yourself struggling, at stages during your life and turn to boxing more, or turn to just going for a run, or, would you have any advice for people in that sort of way?
Not really, but you know what? Like, I think I've had my own problems too gambling, and like I think the greatest thing you can do is share your problems, because like people have this stigma against like you say males because are sport people because they're supposed to be macho, but like when you share a problem, like it's a problem shared, a problem half, and like it's honest to God, it's the best thing like you ever do. So my only advice, maybe if someone has like problems, could be addiction, could be well, addiction covers alcohol and drugs, but depression can be anything. But like if you share that there, and it's definitely gonna help me.
Yeah, absolutely. Suppose then, how's where's Irish boxing? For me, looking from the outside, is it as good as it was when sort of, I suppose I'm talking about amateur boxing first.
Yeah.
Is it as good as, or did we just have that sort of golden generation?
You know what? At the minute, I think we're in a kind of a transition period. So that golden era there just maybe just finished. I think.
Yeah.
I think more and more of our top names are starting to turn professional.
Yeah.
Because I find myself the funding hurdles are harder to get over because of our success, we're getting points for it. Because it used to be you get a European bronze medal, you're on the top funding. Now because we're doing too good, you have to get to the final. You have to win gold. It's not fair that they're putting the hurdles further and further and further.
Yeah.
But I think now it's changing. So, which can't argue with, like female boxing in Ireland, amateur Ireland, is our best hope of Olympic medals in Tokyo.
Right. And what about the professionals then? Obviously,
professional boxing in Ireland is booming. Well, it was booming before lockdown, but because the likes of NTK, we're giving like everyone the opportunity fighting the biggest stage. They're being looked after properly, and I think that's the reason why too you're seeing so many people turn pro. There's so many shows now, but when there never was.
Yeah.
And that's down to the fact that NTK are pushing and helping giving people a chance. So if you like Sean McCone coming up, Sean McKenna, who I thought she'd won that golden contract, Mick Conlon, world champion gonna be soon, Carl Frampton, weight world champion soon too. So there's Cracker, there's loads of boxers, especially in West Belfast, coming through.
Yeah, I suppose I know you're meeting the box that night, but I'm no doubt you were there in the Falls Park. How special an atmosphere or night was that?
I did box tonight. I boxed early on. I boxed actually that was my last win.
Sorry to bring it up, mate.
No, it was an unbelievable night. Like I couldn't believe how good it was. Got the perfect. Okay, it rained a bit, but the atmosphere was unbelievable, and I hope it happens there every flat.
Yeah, it should be a regular occurrence, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I suppose then, what's next for you, Paddy? Are you are you going to fight again, or are you hoping to just maybe go into a bit of commentary, or what's next? Where do you hope to? What lane do you sort of hope to go down?
Well, I can answer 2 questions first. I'm retired. I'll tell you why I'm retired too. Actually, I'm 33 now, and I remember my last fight there. I was as fit as it could be, trained really hard for it. But I remember sparring and like punches were coming at me, and like my reaction time was getting slower.
Right.
So like I was like, geez, I can get hurt here. Like if I keep boxing and boxing on. So I think it was because I was smart enough to know that I was like my reaction time was deteriorating. I wasn't as good as used to be because, especially my weight, speed, and reaction time is need to be 100%. And you look at boxers now, there's some boxers only kidding themselves to be called a pro boxer, and they're going to end up punching. So that's why I retired. No more fighting, but I'm not be commentating there because I'm sure you're struggling to understand me and talking that fast.
No, I'm all right. Some of my listeners from the country might be struggling.
But at the minute, I'm helping amateur clubs develop, look for fun opportunities and whatnot for my job. So I'm a club development officer for ultra boxing, and as well have my own podcast.
Yep.
And as well, a new thing I started there, a thing called Paddy Box.
Right.
So it's a training session. The beauty of it is that I go to your house and train you in the comfort of your own home, your own garage, your own gym. I have the equipment, the bag, the box to train with. Session planned out, 10 rounds of boxing training, which I did as a pro. So that's
there you go. So our listeners can take advantage of it.
That's it. DM me for details.
For details, good man. I suppose then coming towards the end of it, why were you so good? Like, why did you get to the top? Was there a couple of key components to your sort of, obviously, look, you had the talent, there's no doubt about that, but from what I see from boxers, like some of the training they do, there's no way I would ever be able to do it. Like, so why did you get to the top? Like,
you know what? Someone asked us the other day, and I was able to answer it this way. So I wasn't the most talented boxer. The reason for my success was that every 2 years now when you're boxing, the scoring system would change. Right. So I boxed not to my ability, not the way I could have boxed. I boxed to suit the scoring system. Yeah. So in 2008, there was loads of punches, and then you had the Europeans and Commonwealth Games in 2010. It was like take guard.
Yeah.
Like, I think if I didn't train that year, I don't want to ring. I won the European and Commonwealth Games. Just not take guard and just one take a punch.
Yeah.
And then obviously it changed. Like, I just suited the system, and like that's how I was able to stay at the top for so long.
Yeah.
Changing the style to suit the scoring system.
Yeah. Suppose, look, one thing it's I was speaking to a number of people saying that you were coming on and stuff, and one thing that always sort of intrigued people was the personality. Like, where did you get that from? Like, or did you develop it as you got older and into these Olympics? Did did your personality change any, or was it always the same? Were you the same at 11, full of crack, full of stories, full of badness?
Or you know what? I think I was always been like this here, to be honest with you. But you know what? Seeing I was like P7 and all that there, I was shy. But I think what's brought me in Michelle and what's good for people to listen to you is like sport. Like making friends in sport, and like is able to relax in a sport atmosphere, and it just accumulated a lot of friends through sport, and I just felt more comfortable with myself, and I just love having crack and love torturing people, love slagging them, and that's just what you get at the minute.
And could you take it back, or did you get grumpy when people give you it back?
Why I get grumpy all the time, don't worry about that.
So you can give it out, you can't take it. I suppose then, lastly, sort of your relationship with sort of Michael Conan, Katie Taylor, Carl Frampton. How special is that to you in terms of you obviously have a close bond and stuff like that? Is that
it's great, I feel privileged being able to say that I've trained with some of the best boxers in history from Ireland. It's Kate Taylor, who's just spar all the time. She's history maker in a number of different ways. I've trained and fought Conor Frampton. I've trained McConnell. As well, my two kids, too big to have, and my oldest one, Conor Frampton, was her godfather. And my youngest one, Mick Cummins, her godfather. So
not bad.
The 2 world champions for godfathers.
Yeah, well, I suppose was that a decision maybe to retire as well, thinking about the wife and the kids and stuff. That was did that ever come into sort of thinking about retirement, or was it just solely on performance?
It was a bit of both, because at the end of the day, you have to factor in your health. Because realistically, it could have been brain damage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I think, sorry to be saying this here, the other people, professional boxing, if you don't think you can be world champion, if you don't think you can make a lot of money, don't do it, because what is the point? It's too hard of a sport. It's too dangerous of a sport, so give it serious consideration. If you want to give it a go, but listen, if you think the time's right, stop.
No, I suppose I was just chatting to a couple of boys just to finish up, and they were saying, after the 2012 Olympics, they sent you a message and all, and you get back to them, and chatting to another boy says, "Look, you're an absolute gentleman to meet," and all that. Was there any ever funny letters or funny cards that you ever got, or was there any that you sort of went, Jesus Christ?
I see after the Olympics, where letters used to come to my man's house, and it just was addressed Paddy Barnes, no address on it. The postman just know where I live, but it's just hundreds of letters, no joke. But I remember, actually, this is supposed to be a funny story, but I laughed at it. I remember in Beijing, the first Olympics, I got a letter, just Paddy Barnes, Olympic bronze medalist. That's all it was basically. So, but the 20th time, opened it up anyway in my room. It's not a lie. I can only remember the first sentence. It says, "Well done, Paddy Barnes, for making an absolute cunt of yourself," and slammer me being a Catholic and all, and hate mail. I got a few of them, no joke. And I think a man cracked up. A man might put it on Facebook over, but it was on No One Show or something next day. You had people from Shanghai cracking up that it was sent something out there.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was from, but I remember David Larmer was raging somebody, but they didn't do that there. But here, it could be anyone.
Yeah. No, that's it.
Being an arsehole.
No, look, Paddy, appreciate you taking your time to join us, and for any of our listeners, get involved in Paddycast and the other
Paddy Box too.
Paddy Box as well. So appreciate your time, Paddy, very much.
No problem at all, mate. Take it easy.
Take it easy.